Hello and welcome back to Nadya's Identity Files. I have with me the multi-talented Nadya. Thank you so much.
Camera I'm looking at. Just look at all of them.
Yeah, look at all of them. I know there's like 3 cameras and they're on those like little like weird leg things where I see like I'm at CVS. I'm like, I need a selfie stick. And then they have these weird things. I don't know. You probably don't know what I'm talking about, but anyway.
They're those little bendable tripods. They're really great to travel. They're really great for travel.
Really?
So,
Do they bend up really nicely?
Well, yeah, and they like fit into your luggage. So they're really great if you're, shooting out and about and traveling.
That's good to know because I've already broken up my iPhone tripod without meaning to. Like it's falling apart. Like I had to find some tape and tape it up when I was doing something like a couple weeks ago. I felt super uber tragic. It was really funny. I really appreciate you coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
Asha was actually supposed to be on Nadya's Identity Files back in November.
That's how long ago it was, wasn't it?
I know. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Does it feel that long?
I can't even believe it's 2017.
I can't believe it either. I can't believe we're like almost in February now.
Yeah.
But she was supposed to come on in February, or it's February. It's not February yet. Where is my head? It's going too far into the future. She was supposed to come on in November, and due to some technical issues, unfortunately, we had to postpone our segment. So I appreciate your patience.
Oh, no worries.
I'm really psyched to talk about identity with regard to you and your journey, and also your feelings about identity with respect to women and new media and women in general. So
my
first,
favorite topics.
Right? Oh, absolutely. I mean, you by all means could be considered an expert in these issues.
I mean, I'm an expert on myself. I don't want to claim expertise on anything else. So.
You are the expert. You are the expert. So tell us a little bit about Girl Talk HQ and your journey and your process for starting the magazine.
Yeah, so I started Girl Talk HQ in 2012. It wasn't like a big, crazy launch or anything, but I started it because I had been working in broadcast media and some digital media for about 10 or 11 years at that point. I had done a lot of hosting, segment producing, and writing, mainly in the entertainment and lifestyle space, and it was great in my early 20s. I started straight out of college in Australia, where I'm originally from. And I just learned so much about just the basics of production and writing and all these great skills. But then as I got older, I kind of wanted to do something a little bit more meaningful, and I really started becoming interested in stories about women. And also I got sick of waiting for the phone to ring from my agent and getting an email from my agent saying, hey, you've got an audition. It's the job you've been waiting for. Right. After a while, I realized that job doesn't exist, really.
Yes.
Maybe if you're Ryan Seacrest, or I don't know, but we live in the world where
I don't know. Do you really think Ryan's job is the ideal job?
I mean, he gets paid millions and millions of dollars.
He does get paid bank, I
think he's made a good living off American Idol.
Oh, for sure.
But, I mean, if that was my paycheck, I'd be like, yeah, this is the ideal job. So I started realizing that these are the things I'm interested in. Women stories, just women doing badass things in the world. I needed to create something, and all these blogs were coming up, and some of my friends were starting like fashion blogs and media blogs and pop culture stuff. I'm like, why don't I just start one of those blog things and just kind of put the stories and articles that I want to see in this one place, and then it kind of grew from there. So that's kind of how Girl Talk HQ came about.
So what year did it start?
2012.
2012.
Yeah.
Wow. So you're approaching your 5-year anniversary then.
Yeah. So, yeah, can I count?
Wow.
Yeah, so it's been just over 4 years, which is awesome.
That's
so
wonderful.
This will be the 5th year.
So when you initially created the magazine, was it more of like a traditional blog space and then it evolved into something a bit more encompassing?
It actually started out as a Tumblr page where I would just kind of aggregate articles that I thought were really great but weren't necessarily main headline news on all the big websites. And I would just kind of put them in one place. Like, this is the one-stop shop that I can come and find the articles that I want to read about women. And I thought, why don't I kind of expand this into a bigger blog? And so I kind of switched over to WordPress, built a blog, kind of built the template out and figured out the format and what I wanted to do. And that's kind of also evolved over the years. But yeah, that's kind of how it evolved since 2012.
Wow. I mean, can you talk a little, because now, I mean, you have a lot of different topics that you cover on the magazine. You have multiple contributors. What was your process for expanding out and like reaching out to other women who you knew needed a space to showcase their identities and just find a safe haven, like a community that you've built?
Yeah. Well, originally I had I thought about, okay, I want to write about articles and news stories that are out there but aren't getting enough attention that they deserve. So there's a few main topics that we like to cover. There's politics, women in business who are breaking barriers, the representation of women in media and entertainment, body image and fashion, in the sense that, you know, people who are kind of breaking the body image and body norms for women and just really kind of making it more diverse and inclusive. And so in terms of finding contributors, I would originally reach out to people that I thought were interesting and wanted to interview and feature on my site. But then I just, the more I started putting content out there, I think people started recognizing what the brand was, and it could see that it was an empowering site. These are stories about women, giving them a platform. So now I don't reach out to anyone. I just have people reach out to me. Like every day
awesome.
There is a new person saying, I'm a blogger, I'm a writer, I want to write about this topic, or I'm a publicist, I have a client who's the CEO of blah, blah, blah. Would you like to feature her on my site? And I'm like, yes, please. And the majority of people that reach out to me and want to be featured, I say yes to, because it's like, yes, I would love to have the CEO of Planned Parenthood in Ohio talk about why it's important for women to have access to healthcare, especially low-income women. So, yeah, I'm really flattered that these people are finding my site and wanting.
And it's like a dream come true.
It is. Yeah, I love it. It's like it's my full-time job, but I don't get paid as my full-time job yet. It's kind of slowly growing. And I still do other, money-making jobs. Right. But I love it. It's like my baby. It's my life. I just love working on it.
I mean, there's definitely nothing more rewarding than launching your own thing.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, you realize waiting for the phone to ring, it wasn't productive.
Yeah, it just doesn't happen.
In that process, you're empowering yourself.
Yeah.
By launching this empowering platform.
Yeah, and because I always struggled I always wanted to be like, and I mentioned Ryan Seacrest because I always wanted to be a host. Like, I want to host one of those shows, but I have an accent, a funny accent, I
love your accent.
Even though we live in LA and there's a lot of diverse people here, the majority of the TV watching population in America is in the Midwest. So that would kind of be a deterrent. I'm a woman of color. I'm a young woman, so I don't have as much experience as, people who have been in the industry for a long time. I'm not a no-name. So there were so many different things going against me, and I just thought, this is a tough industry. As much as I love it, I've got to start doing something for myself.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. And what do you think about those barriers as they exist now? And what is Girl HQ doing to break those down?
So Girl Talk HQ is, the way we try and break down barriers is by sharing stories and information. I think there's so much of the fear of the unknown when you're thinking of like a certain type of people group out there or a certain topic that we just have no idea about. And we see today, like in America, it's so divided politically. It's like those are the people over there. But once you put a human identity and a human face and a name on that person, it's so much harder to hate them and fear them, So I think that's what we do by just sharing stories, women's authentic voices, just speaking their truth rather than like bashing people over the head like, you have to believe in these rights or that. It's just like, here I am, this is my story.
Right. And obviously that's a special level of authenticity that's sometimes lacking, I think, in women's led movements. I mean, obviously everybody has a different approach, but sometimes it feels a little bit boxed in and like a little stereotypical.
Definitely.
And we as women are much more multifaceted than that.
That's something I think we are moving toward, and there's a lot more recognition of the fact that, women, we're just as complex, whole, flawed human beings as men. So why aren't we afforded the same type of spaces and opportunities to fail or to make big decisions without being criticized because of our gender, those kind of things. So
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, another issue that I'd like to explore is your opinion. I mean, obviously you kind of touched on this already, of how women are being depicted in new media and how, I guess, the stories that you're sourcing or the people that are coming to you are rethinking that conversation.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I think digital media has really opened up the doors for women to have their own voice like never before. I mean, we've seen like women's rights movements and protests and platforms and magazines, but social media has become, I mean, it's a very awful place in a lot of ways.
It's very paradoxical in many aspects, yes.
But there are also so many women who are like feminist writers and just women sharing stories and experts on topics that are getting exposure that probably wouldn't have in traditional media spaces. So I think in that sense, it's really great. Absolutely.
150%. Yes. Well, thank you so much. We obviously have a lot more to talk about, and we will. So stay tuned after this commercial break.